they're making an amusement park ride based on Mass Effect.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be
And
an awesome
It's going to
ride.
be, the way they described it, it's a 3D, like it's going to be 3D effects and 4D
Ooh.
effects. And they take you right into the action of the Mass Effect universe.
That's awesome.
And it's going to open in California in the Great Adventure Theme Park, I think is what it's called.
All right, we're moving to California.
Yeah. And so in the slew of like them opening up, Nintendo opening, and Ubisoft opening their own theme park, which one would you like to go to more? Would you like a Mass Effect, or would you go to Nintendo or the Ubisoft?
Mass Effect. I love that game.
But it's just one ride compared to an entire theme park.
Worth.
Just the Mass Effect
Yep.
ride? I think it would be pretty cool. I'd want to see Nintendo, because I feel like they could do a lot with
That's
their
true.
intellectual property.
But I love Mass Effect. Oh, wait a second, though. I just remembered Nintendo has Pokemon.
Yeah, they do.
If they have some sort of Pokemon thing,
They probably do. They
then
probably
I
have
will
Pokemon
definitely
Land.
be picking that.
Oh my! Could you imagine eating one of the what are the berries?
Oh, yeah.
Just having berries as snacks,
Yeah.
like real snacks.
That would be pretty sweet. Or like somehow like do like an animatronic Pokemon petting zoo.
Yeah. This actually just popped into my head, but do you remember a while ago when they were announcing that Five Nights at Freddy's was becoming a movie?
Yeah.
Well, they announced that the Jim Henson Creature Shop, the ones who are responsible for like the Muppets and stuff, are the ones in charge of making the animatronics for the movie.
Whoa, that sounds awesome.
So that's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's a great choice for that.
I think it's gonna be pretty good. Other news, I can't remember.
Oh, did you hear about that game company that started a Kickstarter, and then after it reached its goal, they like shut down everything and disappeared?
No, I did not.
Yeah, apparently they got $30,000, and then they were like, we're no longer accepting donations.
All right.
And then, like minutes after that, their website was gone. The Kickstarter, the
goodness.
GoFundMe page was gone.
Oh,
the
God.
Twitter and everything was gone.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Wait, did they actually get off with the money?
Yeah. Well,
Whoa.
okay. See, the thing is, the big problem with this, and the big problem with like Kickstarters and GoFundMe stuff
Yeah.
in general, is that it's not technically illegal to do this because you're technically giving a donation.
Yeah.
You're not
paying for something.
Yeah.
That is true. Unless they specify in the backers section.
Yeah, that's
Then
true.
you are.
But yeah, so that happened. $30,000. Bunch of people got ripped off.
That is ridiculous. I can't imagine
Yeah.
that much money going out and then just a company disappearing entirely.
Yeah, how would you feel? Like you just donated, like even if it's just like $20,
I'd be so mad.
and like you were
'Cause-
really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, that would be my biggest thing. The $20, whatever. I can get $20
Yeah.
anywhere else. But the thing is, like, if I paid $20, that's because I truly believed
Yeah.
that game would be good, and I wanted to see it come to fruition, only for it to just disappear.
Yeah, $30,000 worth of people also believe that.
Yeah, and it's so sad.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. I'm mad
Whoever
now.
you are who did that, you're a dickhead.
And if you're listening to this, thank you for listening. But
Please-
don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, please like, subscribe, and rate us on iTunes. But you're still a dickhead.
Stop being such a dickhead.
Give those people their money back, man.
Yeah, man. Or at least make the game that you promised.
Yeah, one of those two things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Other news, but this was last week news, I think. That fucking DraftKings, one of the
Oh yeah, I
lead
showed you this.
fantasy football. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of news actually. I read a lot about it
Yeah.
because even this other site, FanDuel's, did it. They started allowing people to bet on esports.
Yeah, it's
So, like, League
legal
of
to bet on
Legends.
esports now.
Yeah. And so I think it starts this coming month in October, where people can actually start doing that.
Cool.
That's pretty cool. That actually opens up a lot of doors for the esports scene,
Yeah.
so that people can actually see it as a real entity.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of fantasy football, at my work, we do this thing where you pick out the teams and you go into a raffle. Basically, it's fantasy football. I don't play in it because I don't care about football, but one of my coworkers does, and she came up to me asking for help on it. And so the way we did is we sat down and drew up pictures of what the teams were and who would win in a fight.
Nice.
So, like, for example, it was like the Bears versus the 49ers. So we drew a pack of bears versus a pack of gold miners with pickaxes. The Bears won.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, it would because
Okay, well, if it's like one gold miner versus one bear, I think the bear would win.
Yeah.
But if it's several gold miners versus several bears,
the way we did it was
no.
bears to 5 gold miners.
I think they could do it.
You think the gold miners would
yeah,
win?
they've got pickaxe. If they can just like get them once in the face,
I guess
over.
so. But
although that's like either way.
yeah, it would be a hard fight. But we did decide that the Bears were gonna win. It was ultimately her decision because she was putting the $5 in. So, but yeah, I thought that was a pretty good way. So if you play any fantasy football stuff, do it that way. Draw a picture of them fighting and see who would win.
Decide that way. That's the best way to do it.
It is. Anyway.
Yeah, if you're good at league watching, esports stuff, you can now bet on that.
Yeah, so like just
Make
like in
money off
football
your
where you
skills.
can bet on your quarterback, now you can bet on your mid laner. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited because the esports scene is becoming bigger and bigger.
Oh yeah.
So like we're one step closer to actually seeing it on TV as a regular thing.
Yeah, which would be really cool.
Yeah, it opens up to the fact that games aren't just for nerds and gamers. Like it's a platform that everyone can enjoy whether you play them or not.
Yeah, I think it's always been weird to me because, like, granted, most people play it casually, but almost everyone plays video games.
Yeah.
But not everyone watches sports.
That's very true. And not everyone plays sports.
Yeah.
Video games are something, and this is something that there was a mid laner from, I can't remember, I think it was no, it wasn't C9. No, I think it might have been C9, who said that the reason he joined esports and left football was because it's not, there aren't as many barriers into getting into an esports. Like for football, in order to be a football player, you need to be a 6'4", big built guy who's athletic. In esports, you could be a 120-pound girl who hasn't run outside in years.
You could spend all day eating Cheetos.
Yeah, and you could be one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
So there aren't as many barriers to it. It's not a sport because there aren't barriers to it, but it's still an activity that everyone can enjoy regardless if they want to do it competitively or not. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yay video games.
Go video games.
Woo.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on to our topic for this
Yeah.
day, which is
urban legends.
Yeah, that's right.
Spooky, because this is Spooktacular month.
Yeah, we're kicking off Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
Stole that name from WCW. I don't think it's copywritten anymore, so we're using it.
Good. I don't want to get sued. Anyway, so how are we doing this?
Okay, so let me ask you this. What is, in your opinion, the scariest urban legend you've ever heard?
Ooh, okay. I think the scariest urban legend I've ever heard is okay. It's one called Harold, and it's from this book called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So basically, there's this farmer dude, right?
Yeah.
And he's got this giant farm, and it's doing really well. It's really successful. And everyone asks him, dude, what's your secret? How do you have such a good farm? And he's like, well, I made this really scary scarecrow over there. You see him? He's terrifying. I spent weeks working on him and make him terrifying. Right? And so that's his life. That's how he lives. But next door to him are these two brothers that are incredibly lazy, and they don't do anything. And so they decide to go into the field and take the scarecrow, because that way the old man's field will deteriorate, forcing him to sell the farm, and thus they will get more money because they're
Smart.
the only other farm around. So they go in the middle of the night and take the scarecrow and they put it in the basement, in a closet. And in the morning, the old guy wakes up, and he goes outside and he sees that all his crops are being destroyed by pests and stuff. And so he starts crying. He's like, oh no, my livelihood, it's all gone. And then the two brothers are like, ha ha, sucks to be you, old man. This is tough luck. And they're like, and the old guy's like, did you guys see what happened to my scarecrow? And they're like, no, we didn't see anything. And they go back, and then that night they can't seem to go to sleep because they just keep seeing the scarecrow every time they close their eyes.
Ugh.
And then so they get fed up with it, and so they go into the closet and they smash the pumpkin head that the scarecrow had, and they just rip it apart. And so they go back to bed and they fall asleep. But then in around 3 a.m. or so, they hear scratching at the door. And one of them looks at the other and says, did you put the dog out? And the other guy says, we don't have a dog.
Oh, snap.
And then all of a sudden the door bursts open, and this straw hand just claws its way over to one of them and holds them down. And then more pieces of straw just come over and start clamping down on him. And he's like, dude, help me. But the other guy's already run out. Like, he's gone. And as he's running,
smart thing to do.
He's running through the field, and he turns around, and he sees the fully formed scarecrow. But now instead of a pumpkin head, it's his brother's head.
Oh.
Just as disfigured as the pumpkin.
Dang.
And I thought that was the creepiest story I've ever heard.
That sounds terrifying.
Right?
Although that's not an urban legend. That's more just a scary story.
It was in the urban legend section. I think my thing is I find the stories where inanimate objects come to life to be terrifying, because that could be anything. This microphone could just punch me in the face and there's nothing I can do to it. I can't break apart a microphone to make it stop.
Yeah, you can. You can break apart a microphone.
But they broke apart the scarecrow and still killed
They
him.
just broke apart his head. They should have burned the body.
Well, I guess they didn't. They weren't expecting a scarecrow to light them to kill him.
That's fair.
But like, you don't expect inanimate objects to come to life and kill you. So I just find that terrifying.
Chucky has taught me that yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Fair enough. All right. So what's your scariest urban
Mine
legend?
is one called "Humans Can Lick Too."
Oh, I like
For
this one.
people who haven't heard it, it's about a little girl whose parents go out on a date, and so they leave her alone. And she stays home with her little pet dog, and as they're going to bed, the dog crawls under her bed. She gets in the bed, and she puts her hand down beneath the bed so the dog can lick it so she can know it's there. And she falls asleep, and in the middle of the night, she hears this weird noise. It sounds like dripping. And it wakes her up, and so she just ignores it. And then, she gets back in bed and, lays down and puts her hand down there and, feels the dog licking her hand again. And, she does this 3 or 4 times, just keeps waking up, ignores it, goes back to sleep, puts her hand down there for the dog, until finally she just can't ignore it anymore. And she's like, okay, I need to go find this. And she goes around checking all the faucets, and, none of them are on. They're all off. She made sure they're all off, and nothing's on. So she goes downstairs, and she can still hear it, and it's coming from a cabinet. And when she opens it up, it's her dog, and his throat has been slit, and it's blood dripping down.
Yeah.
With a sign that says, "Humans can lick too."
Oh, that's so creepy.
That's just always been terrifying to me.
It's so awful. There's so many variations on that story.
Yeah.
Like, aren't you glad you didn't turn on the lights?
No, that's a completely different story.
Is it?
That's that's about a girl who, her roommate.
Oh,
she comes home.
Okay, then I was thinking of the wrong story. There's one with an old lady and a dog.
I haven't heard that version. I've only heard the little girl version.
It's basically the same little girl, except in this one it's an old lady. And then her son comes to check on her, and they find the dead dog in the shower. Yeah. So it's basically the same story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different location.
That's a really...
What if it's the same little girl?
Oh, no.
She gets another dog. She grows up, gets another dog, and then this happens again.
Oh, no.
That poor woman.
The guy is an asshole.
Yeah.
Wait, why is he still